welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 220. Okay, I feel an overwhelming amount of emotion. Like, today has been a day, and a good day, actually, a good day at work. And the way my mind is, it's hard for me to just process one thought at a time. It's literally multiple things going on in my mind at all times, especially if something big is presented to me and I am like processing that emotion, that thought, that feeling, all that, whatever. Anyway, so you guys know how I've been wanting to finally have more leadership opportunities. The time has finally come, and I was approached with an opportunity that allowed for me to really demonstrate my leadership abilities. And I had the meeting with my principal today, and he was just like going over the responsibilities, the whole framework behind it all. And I was sitting there in the meeting. I'm just like, oh, it's happening. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, it's happening. I felt like for so long I've been wanting this opportunity to really shine and be the leader that I want to be and be the leader that I want to see more of. And oh, it's happening. You know, like before I've led in other ways as far as like in the background, or, you know, I've been a mentor to new teachers, so I've led in that capacity. But it's weird because I felt nervous and I felt like, oh my gosh, do I really want it? Can I really do it? You know, all those feelings. And then I had to remind myself, bitch, you've been doing this, right? Like you've for years, like beyond school, beyond my role as an educator, like you've been playing the part of leading weekly meetings. I remember at my home church, I was the young adult ministry leader, meaning I held Sunday meetings after church service, and also weekday meetings with fellow young adults. And I had an agenda. I led the topics. I delegated with my team. I've done this before. Like, I have experience in this. And for some reason in that moment when he was explaining to me the specifics for this particular role, I had to go on and on in my mind about, wait, can I do this? What? I was just all I can't, never mind, I don't want to do it, never mind. Like, I wanted to just so badly find a legitimate excuse to say, hey, never mind, I was just playing. Never mind. And I actually tried to find a way out, like, because I teach two preps, meaning both 9th and 10th grade section class of English. You know, I have a little bit more on my plate, and that will conflict with this role, or so I would say that, or I'll try to kind of like bring that into the topic or bring that into the conversation to help him see that, oh, maybe we should move things around, or no, like, I don't know. Anyway, none of that really happened. Like, I presented some like excuses, but he was very he was intentional in trying to see how he could best meet my comfort. But I think it needed to happen the way it did, because it's about, you know, bridging out of your comfort zone, I feel like. So Anyway, I'm really happy. I am really happy. I think, though, I had a realization moment, and I realized that I have a hard time really being present and really just soaking things up, soaking it in and really being here in the moment. So like, as he was telling me the specific responsibilities for this leadership position, I was sitting there like, okay, so what does that mean for this class? What does that mean for that? Like, my mind was going everywhere. So there's that. Anyway, so it worked out. He discussed exactly about like the onboarding process for this new position. Mind you, this is a new position in addition to what I'm already doing. And this is the grade level chair position. So I would be rounding up my grade level teachers and just meeting together consistently, enforcing positive cultural strategies and like just ways to kind of really have a conducive learning environment. There's like so many different things that falls under that role, in addition to me already teaching and all that stuff. So there is a stipend attached to it, which is cool, which is really good. When he gave me the numbers, I was like, okay, that sounds kind of good, so that was nice. And I just kind of had to like prep myself up in that moment and even afterwards, because I wanted to quickly just be like, maybe another time. But like, I think there's comfort in excuses, right? There's comfort in kind of like not being there yet, right? Like, I want that dream and I'm not all the way in fulfilling that dream, but I found a home in that in-between place. There's comfort in the in-between. And for so long, I've been like on this podcast talking to you guys about wanting to have more opportunities for leadership and wanting to climb the ladder, so to speak. And I found comfort subconsciously in that conversation. So to finally now have this opportunity not only presented, but like it's a reality. It's not just all talk. It's not just, I see potential in you. And that's like, no. I've seen potential in you. I've seen how structured you are. You're great for this role. I'm giving it to you. You got it. Okay, bye. Like, that's it. Like, it wasn't like, and it was kind of like a shove in a way, but gently, but still a shove in an aggressive, respectful way. Like, no, now's the time. Go ahead. So, I think in those moments you find yourself questioning whether you really wanted to or if you really could do this, and what if I'm not, yada yada. And just now I'm realizing that yes, I do have a hard time really soaking things in, and I'm like frazzled mentally, but I have a good way of presenting this calm demeanor. And this came to my just foresight, or came to my conclusion, not foresight. I just came to the conclusion that I need drugs. No, that's the conclusion. So this is an ad. It's not an ad, but maybe it could be eventually. I recently purchased this type of gummy called CBD. It's from Highland, HIGHLAND, Highland Gummies. And I purchased it like weeks ago. It finally came in literally today at the time of this recording. And I just took one gummy. But I purchased a 3-pack. So each pack is for a particular like goal, right? So if you want to sleep better, there's a pack of gummies for that. If you want to be more focused and alert and calm during the day, so like at work or for whatever other reason, there's a gummy for that. And then there's a gummy that's called Anytime, and this gummy is, I think it's it's not a mixture of melatonin, but it just helps to calm you and put your anxiety at ease as best as possible, at least. And I just took one now. Like right before I recorded. It should start kicking in 30 minutes. according to what the description says. And it's legit, hopefully. I mean, knock on wood, I don't die from fentanyl, right? I said I wouldn't say this on the pod. I said I would. It's a joke. Imagine. Wouldn't that be fucking crazy? No, I mean, it's a legit joke. No, but it is a joke. But what I'm saying, oh God, please make it be a joke. I don't want to die. No, but I was influenced by an influencer who mentioned this, and she seems to be pretty credible with what she says, and I hope it's right. And the site is, it looks credible to me. I mean, it wasn't like some like squarespace.com/Highland, it was a legit site. So many great reviews, and yeah, let's see how that goes. But I'm hoping adding that from time to time to my diet, it could kind of help me with just like the frazzleness that I feel sometimes mentally, that I found a great way to hone that in naturally, but sometimes you need that quick fix. And working in this field, there is a lot of like things that come up, and it's kind of hard to like be present. And so I need help with that. And like, I can't leave my third period and go for a fucking walk to get that, endorphin in for me to know how to be present. Like, I need a fucking pill or a gummy. Shit. Or not Addy. I have someone in my life. Let me just say that. I'm gonna be as least descriptive as possible. But there's someone who I know who takes Addy. And by Addy, I mean Adderall. And when I learned of Adderall, I've never taken it, but I've heard of it. And I'm recognizing that it's becoming, or not even becoming, it has been. Because I could actually track back to like 7 years ago when I started in my career, and one of my coworkers, she was telling me it was a white girl. So maybe I thought it was just a white person thing, but no, I feel like in recent years, the casual use of pills have been infiltrated in the Black community as well. So it's not just a white girl thing or a white boy thing taking pills. Nah, you have some Black people taking pills, so that's just has been like a part of our new world order, it looks like. Anyway, so I remember in my second year of my career, this coworker of mine, white girl, she was just like, yeah, I take Adderall. I take that. And she was a sweet girl. Shout out to her. But yeah, that bitch took Adderall. And she was explaining how it makes her feel like she's super alert. She's super just like this is a white girl. Like just mad, like freckle face. I think she's a redhead too. Like just mad, like white girl. Think of a white girl, you think of her. And when she admitted to me that she takes Adderall, at that time I'm like, okay, like I didn't know what she meant. And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, bitch, what? And I just dismissed it as some white girl shit, white girl shit. But nonetheless, she took it, and I don't really encourage the use of that. I think because we have the media portraying some drugs as okay while others are not. And maybe even this gummy that I took, I don't know. I didn't even speak to that. But the point is, she took this and she is like super alert, super on it. Like, I guess maybe there's a high from it, whatever. Anyway, I know someone in my life currently who takes it as well, but not only does she snorts it, like it's just a thing. Anyway, why did I bring that up? I bring that up because I forgot why I brought that up. And maybe maybe this pill it's a gummy. Maybe that could help with my why I bring things up thing, that I have an issue with. But nonetheless, I do feel like there's something to that. Like, I think we all need a little bit help with being present, right? Like, even like, and I think it's because of the environment that we're in, the matrix that we're in. We are forced to be always thinking about something, always doing something. And if you're not doing something, if you're not thinking about your next move, if you're not thinking about, me being a teacher, if you're not thinking about, the next class that's about to come in and the next lesson plan that you plan to conquer and, the next student who's going to ask you if they could use the bathroom, how are you going to strategize with them to make sure that they don't ask again so that they could really focus on their work? And then like there's a million thoughts that come to my mind. Right? And so I can only imagine that being the same for a doctor, for a lawyer, for an engineer, for someone who works in labor, someone like there's so many hard labor, but yeah, like there's so many other, like, because of the world that we're in, it's hard for us to just take a breath. We can't just like clock out in the middle of the day and be like, oh, I'm going to go take a walk. No, we gotta snort that Addy. So I'm not encouraging the use of Adderall, but the point, like, there is something to that, and unfortunately, I think this has all been concocted for us to be not reliant, because I don't want to be reliant, but I think it's important to be mindful of just how we're operating. If we don't ever have a moment to relieve, like when I think about every time I go to sleep, you guys, I have to play something. Because my mind doesn't rest. And for some reason, when I'm playing something, and when I mean play something, I mean I have to play an interview. Like literally, I will listen to Joe Rogan on Spotify. And what's cool about Spotify is it gives you a sleep timer, so you could have the app close on its own after 30 minutes. And typically I've already fallen asleep prior to that 30-minute mark, but I need to hear something else playing, and that will help me to go to sleep, because I noticed that when it's just me and it's super quiet, I can't go to sleep. Like I'm just like, I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I'm ready for the next day. I want to get back to work, or I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm thinking about, I should order this from Amazon. I should go, research this. I should add this to my list of topics for ideas for my podcast. Like, my mind is running. And I haven't found something stable to really help me to stabilize. Like I would sometimes drink the sleepy time tea, and anyway, so like I say these things because there's so many other ways to like get yourself to calm down. We live in a society that doesn't allow us to calm down. As much as we preach mental health and yada yada, like no, the systems in place are not in alignment with you calming down. You have to figure out another system in addition to your current system to help you calm down. But typically when you do that, right, it's after the fact, right? After you had a long, busy rush, things moving left and right, 8-hour day. Now you have time to calm down. And you relieve yourself by going to the gym, running a mile. But while you're in that 8-hour day, when do you feel that moment of relief, right? When is that moment of relief lasting throughout a couple of hours within your workday? And that's the point of me trying this gummy out. Like, hey, maybe during the workday, I could find a lasting moment of relief, of calmness that's affecting my mental, and that can help me to really soak in the moment. Yeah, but honestly, like that's what helps me sleep. Me listening to Joe Rogan when I'm sleeping alone. When I'm sleeping with my man, though, I easily fall. Like, there's comfort in his armpits. I sleep right there. I'm fine. Or right on his chest. I go to sleep just fine. But because I'm not thinking about anything. I'm really just like, my mind is at ease. Yet when I'm by myself, I'm thinking about anything. Oh, I should have put the application here. I should have did it. It's just this thing. Anyway, I say all that to say, sniff some Addy. Fuck. It's a joke. So yeah, like, I am finally experiencing progression in my career that is, I guess, really tangible, right? Like, it's official, and I'm excited to really jump into this new transition. Yeah, I feel good about it. I'm going to lean into the good feelings and not allow the self-doubt and all these things to chime in. And I also had an interview today for another position that I applied to like months ago. And I finally heard back today for that position, because when I initially applied for it, there weren't vacancies anymore, apparently. And because of the new semester, there are now vacancies for the role. And this role is an adjunct professor role at a university. And what's great about this role is that it's virtual. It's completely remote, you guys. And how did I snag that? Because I don't remember that being said in the job description. I also don't remember applying to this job, to be honest. And when the guy reached out to me, I was like, could you please confirm when I was like, I wanted some identification, I wanted some confirmation, all that stuff. And so, yeah, he clarified that. And I had an interview today with a lady who works there. And that went really well. Like, I like how she was very complimentary about my resume. She referenced different points in my resume, and I expanded more in my interview with her. And, you know, I think, again, with me not mastering yet soaking the moment in, I have a hard time mastering embracing compliments. Like, she was like, you know, just from your resume alone, I could tell that you are ambitious, you get things done. And like, she was very particular with her words, and I was just so taken aback. Like, damn. And you know, I love compliments like that. You know, it's one thing to compliment my physical appearance, but it's another thing to compliment my character. And her compliments was just very spot on. And I guess I just needed to hear that. And so that interview happened literally 15 minutes prior to the announcement of my additional role at my campus. So it was just like, there was a flush of emotions in me that I just had a hard time processing all of them. Like, I don't know, like, I have a weird thing about, like, something just happened, right? And I don't feel the effects of that until like later, like until like 3 hours later. Like, oh wait, I'm gonna be in this new leadership position. Oh, this is really happening. Oh, like, that's what he was saying 3 hours ago in that meeting. Like somehow I just leave that present moment because my mind is elsewhere. So anyway, let's move on. So look at that. There's a work update, and it's finally positive. We did it, Joe. Okay, let's talk about these Idaho murders. What a transition. Now, first of all, R.I.P. I really don't mean to laugh. I really don't. It's actually very terrifying hearing about this case, and just the terror that these victims face in their final moments. And it's really because of an incel. Because this man who was attracted to a particular woman, and she was not reciprocating that. And he took moments out of his life, consistent moments out of his life, to stalk her, knew where she lived, and hunted her down and killed her and the people around her in proximity. I don't even know where to begin with this, okay? So, and the irony is the man suspected of this murder, who not only was suspected but arrested, he is a 28-year-old doctorate student who is studying criminal justice. Get the fuck out of here. First of all, 28. Wow. So let's get into this. So 4 people were killed by the hands of this man, allegedly. 3 of them are women and 1 is a man. There's a whole timeline of this, but I kind of want to just paraphrase the key points. So the suspect is this white guy. Again, he's a doctorate student, and he was found guilty, or he was arrested. I don't know if the case, like the court case, has started yet, but he was arrested for this attack. Police say the victims were most likely asleep when they were slain. So I guess that's kind of good news. Like, if you had to go out in this case, at least be asleep. I don't know, child. And some of them had defensive wounds. Okay, so they, of course, it wasn't like they were sleeping soundly through their murder. Meanwhile, detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters near the home to search for possible evidence, and yada, yada, yada. So I want to get to the part where... Okay, anyway, I'm going to paraphrase this because I remember hearing about this on a podcast, and I'm going to remember and paraphrase what was said from there rather than reading this article verbatim, at least right now. So basically, this guy, he's an incel, and by incel, remember we talked about this before, let's dial it back. He is, so an incel is an involuntary celibate person. Involuntary meaning he did not choose this lifestyle. The lifestyle chose him. Okay. I remember when I was celibate for like a week. No. I remember every time I wanted to be celibate, like, I'm going to be celibate. And I will give myself these big ass goals, like this far reaching, impossible really for me and what I really wanted. But I was doing it because it looked good on paper. And being this like staunch Christian at the time, I felt like I needed to follow this regimen to please God. And since then, I've definitely left that ideology. But nonetheless, at that time, I was saying I was celibate. And I remember, actually, no, I wasn't even saying that. I was just saying like, yeah, I'm not really seeing anyone right now. And so my cousin was like, oh, so you're celibate. I'm like, why is that your instant response? I'm just not seeing anyone. Like, me not having sex at the moment does not make one a celibate person, right? It just makes you someone who's not having sex at the moment. Now, at that time, it wasn't like, well, at that particular time, like, yeah, in that particular time, I wasn't necessarily seeking celibacy, you know. Prior to that, or even sometimes after that, I did had voluntarily decided to become celibate. But again, like I said, it was literally just for like a month, 2 months max. Like, it was such a short-lived situation. Instead of me saying, oh, I'm celibate until marriage, that should never happen. It never happened. And you're a liar if you did that. It's like, some people actually did make it work, but not, yeah, it's not, no, I just wasn't that girl. Anyway, so she would always, not always, but in that time, I remember when she asked me that, I was like, no, I'm just not having sex. It wasn't like the offer wasn't given. It just was, I just wasn't having it. Like, there wasn't any interest in me having it, you know? So anyway, I bring that up because when you have men who are celibate, but it's not of their choice, there is definitely this lack of manhood or of superiority or just like confidence, because you feel less than a man, right? You feel like you're just a pussy, right? And that's because of the society that we're in, right? You know, men are raised to, at least from a generation, maybe not men today, like boys becoming men today feel this way, but of a particular generation, you had men who were made to feel like a quote unquote man based off of the number of women they smashed. So to be of that ideology and to not get any play from women, it's a real big hit to the ego. So having an incel of a man, right? I think it's, what's the feminine version? I think it's femcel. I talked about it before. I don't feel like looking it up right now. But nonetheless, he's an incel. And being 28 and an incel is not a great match. And unfortunately, it could raise killers, right? Like that, if you don't get any pussy, you could become a killer. And that's just science. That's science, y'all. That's science. There's data that proves it. Okay? Kaczynski is another serial killer who was so energetically focused on being meticulous and killing people. And he did it through, like, he was this very smart guy. And typically incels are very smart. They're very clever. They've obtained certain advanced degrees, right? Whether it's in the medical field or in the field of just philosophy, whatever the case is, they're typically not a bum off the street. They're typically this well-respected academic person. So you have this guy in particular who is a doctorate student. Like, he is a fucking soon-to-be doctor in the field of criminal justice. And he has committed this crime. So, yeah. So he was found to be a strong suspect in the case. One of the victims, he had a strong attraction towards. I'm not sure if he had a conversation with her. I'm not sure if she was aware of his presence, of his existence, actually. So his name is Brian Christopher Kohlberger, 28 years old, a resident of Pullman, Washington, and a doctoral student at WSU, Washington State University. He was apprehended in northeastern Pennsylvania, about 2,500 miles from Idaho campus, and was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary. So this is what happened. He burglarized the home. He came into the home unrequested and murdered the 4 victims in their home. Now, this home was this shared fraternity/sorority house. I think it was only a sorority house, but one of the girls' boyfriend was in the home at this time. And of course, he was killed by proximity, of course. Due to proximity, because him being there, it was like the obvious choice to just kill this guy, right? That's typically how it goes. I want to try to find the specific way he killed them. Anyway, can't find that. So, here's a quote from the police. This took place in Moscow, Idaho. What a name, huh? Moscow. We remain consistent in our belief that this was indeed a targeted attack, but have not concluded if the target was the residents or its occupants. Okay, interesting. So he's making the point that he's not sure if the guy targeted just anyone in the house, or whoever was at the house got what they got, or if he was targeting these 4 particular people. I heard from another podcast that he wanted the love from one of the women whom he killed. And because that was unrequited, he killed her, unfortunately. The department also continues to dispel online rumors and speculation and says it has cleared certain people seen interacting with Goncalves and Morgan on the evening they were killed. Police say the two housemates who were home during the attack had been sleeping that night. So there were two other housemates in the home that did not get killed. They did not get killed, and they were able to hide out, and the killer did not see them. Something like that. There was something else that I listened to, and they said that one of the other housemates who is still alive, who wasn't killed, she says she locked eyes with the killer. Now, I don't know if she says she locked eyes, meaning the killer saw her too and decided to spare her, or she just happened to see him. It says here on December 2nd, the two housemates, Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen, released letters saying they are struggling to accept why the lives of 4 beautiful people were taken so brutally. Even they were killed, yada, 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 from when the couple arrived at the apartment house. Child, yeah. So anyway, this is a timeline of events, and I kept on hearing about this case like throughout the weeks. I'm just like, what the fuck are y'all talking? Idaho. Don't you get potatoes in Idaho? Like, what are we talking about? What's going on in Idaho? It kept on being new news, more update. Like, it was hard to keep track of what was going on. So finally coming across an article that has a timeline of events it's still overwhelming. Nonetheless, rest in peace. This is really sad. And, this incel, like, I mean, like, what's the lesson here? Like, I don't know. Like, don't, like, give niggas some pussy. Like, what is the lesson? What do you say to prevent such behavior? Like, what? I don't know. I think maybe legalize prostitution. I'm not kidding. Like, maybe having a legalization of prostitution could be the next move in our society, in all the states of America. Maybe that is the solution, because you have incels who feel so shaken by the fact that they still haven't had a sexual experience and no one finds them attractive. I'm gonna kill this girl because she doesn't like me, right? So maybe if they had a legal sexual experience with a prostitute, then this urge or this rush to feel like you have to kill someone who doesn't meet your attraction in return, maybe that could be a step ahead to prevent such behavior. Maybe. Like, I'm really thinking of ideas, y'all. But then again, I think about incels who may desire a romantic relationship. And even after they may get the sex from the prostitute, they may stalk that prostitute and may not see it as just a job. They may see it as, well, hey, you love me now, right? I fucked you. You love me now. Like, they may not know how to well process the compartmentalization of having sex with a prostitute. But anyway, I just think about, I don't know, maybe that's a solution, maybe not, because I do kind of see them just tainting the experience even more with a prostitute and wanting to have an intimate relationship beyond the physical. But anyway, rest in peace. It's really sad. So that's disturbing. Speaking of death, actually, there are 2 Black mothers who died from a BBL surgery. Like, where the fuck do we go? where do we go from here? No, like seriously, where do we go from here? At this point, Black lives don't matter. No. At this point, Black lives don't matter. It's until you realize your own worth, your own value, the joy of your life and your existence, and being mindful of what you put into your body, being mindful of what you inject, being mindful of what you consume. Because if you do it, if you're not mindful of that, if you're so quick to jump on the next trend, the next fading beauty thing to hold up, right? The next fading beauty standard to uphold, at this point, you don't think your life matters. So let's just cut it out with this whole BLM shit. Let's cut it out. Because how on earth is this still happening? Isn't there enough report out there, statistical data that supports the fact that these BBL surgeries, these just ass filling surgeries are actually more dangerous than they are of good? Than they are good? Can we recognize that, no, this is not worth it? You have women dying for beauty. Beauty that doesn't even matter. What? And honestly, rest in peace to these women, to these Black women who are mothers. I just think it's so selfish. And look, I'm selfish, right? I recognize that I'm a little bit selfish in some ways. I think I've been more selfish in my younger years, but I don't feel like to be a mother and to still make room for selfishness such as this. It's one thing to be like, oh, I don't want to share this ice cream with my child. I'm going to eat it late at night to avoid my child asking me for something, right? Okay, you're a little selfish, but hey, that's fine, whatever. But it's another thing to go through surgery knowing there's a high risk of you dying. Okay? But you are so caught up in the fade in the facade of this beauty standard that we are pressured to live under. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? First of all, these eyelashes that y'all are wearing, stop. Because something else about to come out and be like, sudden blindness. God forbid. But there's something else out there that will come up if you continue this physical dependency on beauty. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what to say anymore. So one of the two Black mothers, she died during recovery. And I've learned that apparently there's a recovery house for these types of surgeries, in which the women, right after surgery, they will live in this house. And in the house, there are nurses and aide that, who will help you during your recovery process. And once you complete the recovery process, you're now free to really resume your life, your day-to-day. But one of these Black mothers, one of the two that I'm speaking of, she passed. She passed during her recovery. The other mother, she didn't make it after the surgery. So after the surgery was done, you guys, literally in that same bed, she died. So she didn't make it. She didn't even leave the hospital to really see how her body was. She didn't make it. And guess where this was done? In the Dominican Republic. Yes. Out of the country. And why is this such a common attraction? Because I've heard this many times. This is a common attraction because it's cheaper out of the States. it's cheaper to go out of country, whether that's DR, Mexico, Brazil. It's cheaper out of the country to get these surgeries for whatever reason. And I've also learned that it's cheaper because the anesthesia that is put into these women prior to surgery, it is cheap. It is cheap anesthesia. It's not high grade, high quality, and whoever is administering it is not licensed, doesn't know the correct dosage, doesn't know what to do for real. And the surgeon, you have to be board certified to successfully have a surgery like this done. And oftentimes, many times I've heard these women who go out to Dominican Republic, for example, are getting it done by surgeons who aren't board certified, who's doing it on the side and getting maybe $1,300, because otherwise in the States, it's a good $5,000, $10,000, if not more. I don't know. And also, any surgery, there's always complications, as we know. If you've gotten surgery, you are always walked through what could happen, the possible complications, and you sign off on it because you leave. Once you sign off, the doctor and the hospital is not liable. But they do tell you that, any surgery is... there may be some complications, yada, yada, yada. But I don't know, child. I feel like either this is not discussed in detail with the women who are inquiring about such surgeries, or this may not be discussed at all. Or not only it may not be discussed in detail, you may have the women saying, hey, I don't give a fuck about that. I want this ass. I want this gut to go away. And this is how I want it done. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination of doctors not really discussing in detail the risk involved in such surgeries. And I think it's the patient not giving a fuck and wanting to still have this surgery because they see that's where their beauty lies. It's a sad world we're living in. It really is sad. It makes me very sad to see so many women, so many Black women at that, just killing themselves. Literally putting themselves in situations that kill themselves. It's just really sad. So people are literally dying for beauty, and rest in peace to those two black mothers. They were beautiful. I saw those pictures, and yeah, child. So it's an epidemic. There's an epidemic of women dying or having serious health complications from these cosmetic surgeries. I remember K. Michelle had a show on Lifetime, and she talked about the complications that she dealt with from her ass surgery. She had a huge ass surgery a couple years ago, and since that surgery, she's had to have back-to-back surgeries to just kind of fix whatever was the issue. So there were times when her ass just wouldn't shake. It was hard as a rock. Just wouldn't shake. There were times when she would be bleeding. There were times when it will be hurtful for her to have sex. There were so many complications, and you could see the inside of her thighs being inflamed. So many complications. So she finally came forward and discussed this, which I really commend her for. And I think it takes a lot of courage to admit that you were fucking wrong and that you were foolish. But I hope that she helped. I think she did. I think she did help many women to realize that and to guide them in getting the best care possible, because on her show, I remember there were women who shared their stories of complications, of them being remorseful for getting such surgeries, and just what their experience has been. So, look, if this is not a call to action to have Black women, and I'm really focusing on Black women. I know there are white women, Hispanic women. I get it. I'm a Black woman. I'm talking to Black women. Okay? I really hope that Black women can see the beauty in themselves, and they could stop looking at a Kim Kardashian for validation of beauty. Like, they could stop looking for the next trend to validate their beauty. This current trend of having false eyelashes every day. It's one thing to have it for like special events, or even that. I don't like false eyelashes like that. I tried it a couple of times. Well, many times I've tried it, trying to like see if it'll like judge up my look. And I just never liked it. I felt like I never could get it right. And when I finally did get it right, it didn't feel like me. I want to feel like myself at all times. And even when I put on makeup, I like to be as natural with my makeup, just like an enhancement, right? Like, your makeup should really just kind of put a spotlight. It should really just highlight your beauty, right? There's a makeup tool called a highlighter. It's like just like shimmery buff that you'll put on your cheeks, your cheekbones in particular. And that's how I see my makeup. Like, it's literally me highlighting my beauty. We don't have enough conversations about that. You know, we have women putting on makeup and completely looking different. You know, it's one thing to like cover up your blemishes and wanting to kind of look more refined and quote unquote put together, I guess, you know, especially for different moments, I guess. But I would love for us to get to a moment in time in society to just not ever wear makeup. Like, I would love to just up and go. And I've up and gone many times and gone to work and I feel fine. But again, there's this culture to look quote unquote presentable. And we have this belief that wearing makeup is what it takes. Let's talk about bitter voices and why they don't go far. Bitter voices and why they don't go far. I just got wind of this woman named Jaguar Wright. And I guess I'm late to the party because she's been viral for the past 2 years now, to my knowledge. She is a songwriter, singer, rapper. She's like a Lauryn Hill in that respect. But she's fucking bitter, dog. Like, God bless her. But there's a lot of like bitterness and sourness in her rhetoric, in her tone, in her speech. Like, everything about her comes off very hateful. I was sucked into watching this video. By sucked in, I mean, you know how you scrolling through YouTube and you're like, oh, what should I watch now? Right? I love watching YouTube, you guys. There's always something I could like learn or, get wind of, right? The next gossip. Like, I like a little stuff like that. And I came across her, but I was trying to avoid her. Well, I was avoiding her because I kept on seeing her on my timeline. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to get into this. I don't know. But I finally got into it. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? There's this interview of hers that she's sitting on this couch. It's like you know how Vlad has his interview and you don't see him, but you hear his voice, and the person who he's interviewing is sitting on a single chair, and you just see that person, and there's a background. This is the same format. So she's seated, and she's talking to this voice, who's the host, the interviewer. And she's going on about how Erykah Badu and Jill Scott are whores. Apparently Jill Scott slept with all of her boyfriends. It's like, girl, what? What? Talk to your men. Like, what? I don't believe in the whole coming to woman as a woman. The fuck am I coming to you about? If I'm with a man and he happens to, I just never understood the whole concept of you should come to her as a woman or as a. There was something that she said in her interview. She was like, I don't like women who betray women. What? What the fuck are you talking about, bitch? Like, I don't know, child. Oh, well, I guess you don't like me, bitch, right? But no, anyway, I'm saying that in jest, but I'm also saying that to make a point. Stop with this whole, because you're this, I'm supposed to be riding with you. I'm sure there are black women or black people in general that you don't like. Jaguar is a black woman, by the way, okay? Because I didn't say that. So for her to say something like, oh, I don't like women who betray women. Girl, you mean to tell me you never had issues with a woman that may have been your fault, right? You may have been the reason behind that. You don't mean to tell me that there were women who just you didn't like for whatever reason, and regardless if you think the reason is valid or not. The point I'm making is there are people who you just don't vibe with. And just because you guys may share a common physical appearance, right? You guys both have braids. I'm supposed to just embrace every person who has braids. Like, what the fuck are we talking? Like, what is this, first grade? Are we in first grade? Who cares? I don't give a fuck. Right? Like, I'm not suddenly more of your friend because you're a black woman. I just never understood that. I guess I'm not loyal. I'm not loyal. No, I don't like this whole blind trust thing, right? This whole blind trust. Oh, because no, there's so many women who will back. Like, there's so many people who would just betray you, quote unquote, or whatever the reason is. I just feel like this whole instant loyalty card that we should have for people just because they share an identity to us is bullshit. No, realize people for who they are, their character. I'm friends with you not because you're black, not because you're Haitian, not because you're a child of immigrants, not because we may share these physical attributes and these tangible backgrounds, right? Or, these things that really show us who we are on the physical. No, I'm friends with you because you're a good person. I'm friends with you because you're kind. I'm friends with you because you're ambitious. I'm friends with you because you're funny. Like, there's so many, like, again, people fixate on the physical too much. Bringing it back to the BBL surgery. Because we think our beauty lies upon our physical appearance, we believe that, we have to meet the next physical beauty trend. When if we finally leave that ideology alone, we could realize, no, our beauty is within our character. Our beauty is in the way we treat others. Our beauty is in the way we communicate. Our beauty is the way that we behave. Like, it has nothing to do with the physical. Like, what the fuck is a physical? Like, what is a physical? Aren't you a soul? Aren't you a spirit? Aren't you just this energy moving in a flesh, in a body, in a vessel? But you're energy. You're energy. So this whole idea of, anyway, I bring her up because I noticed that she just has this vitriol against these so many artists in the industry, and she's like saying all this like juicy gossip and just painting them out to be just evil people. Like, fuck Jill Scott, she slept with half of my boy. But let's talk to your boyfriends. Talk to your fucking boyfriends. Don't be mad at her. Why are you always with niggas who like to sleep with your friends? If that's not what you want. You know, you gotta add that caveat. If that's not what you want, why the fuck you always with these niggas who sleep with your friends? I don't know. She was talking about Alicia Keys. Like, Alicia Keys is a dyke and all. It's like, girl, okay, but what is that to you? She's mad at Alicia Keys for stealing Swiss Beats from his wife. What the fuck? Alicia Keys is the home wrecker. Fuck your home. No, I just hate that whole term. I feel like it's so lazy. It's lazy. It's lazy to put the responsibility on someone else over someone else's relationship. Someone outside of that relationship has no responsibility to you and your relationship. Get the fuck out of my face. Alicia Keys, shut up. You don't know what kind of home they had, bitch. You don't know what kind of home they had. Hello? You don't know what kind of home they had. Shout out to this water bottle that I have called Stanley. I have been influenced yet again. I have been influenced. I've been watching my regular YouTube videos of different vlogs of my white girl vlog. And many of these white girls talk about this Stanley water bottle. And I've been meaning to change the water bottle that I use for work, because I wanted a straw in my water bottle. And I like the fact that not only does this water bottle have a straw, but it has a handle. What the fuck? A handle? Like on the side. Not like, there's a handle that's typically on the top. This water bottle have a handle on the side. Like you could it's like a mug, a tall mug. And so I was like, oh, this is cute. And I like the aesthetic. There's different colors to choose from. I got the gray and light blue one. And I really like it. It keeps your drink cold for many hours. And if you want to use it for a warm drink, you could also pour warm beverages in here. Well, this could be an ad eventually. I'm going to speak that into existence. But I really do like this water bottle. So this is a genuine ad, I guess. Well, just a genuine display of my emotion. It's not an ad necessarily. Not a paid ad, at least. So, yeah. So I really like it. I love water. I love water. I don't know if you guys know that. I love water. I could drink water all day. And Coca-Cola. Me and Coke. Coca-Cola, let me make that clear. Me and Coca-Cola go together like peanut butter and jelly. I was about to say peanut butter and cheese. For some reason I thought of cheese. No, but seriously, Coke and water. At this point, we gotta put that in. How can we put that together? How can we put Coke in water? I'm never letting Coke go. I can't. There was a time when I was like, you know what? Maybe I should find a way to let go of Coca-Cola. And I was watching this video and this girl was talking about how she swapped regular drinks, like regular soda, like Coca-Cola, with this apple cider soda called Olipop. And she's like, it tastes just like there was a flavor that says cola. And she was like, it's good. It's actually good and it's healthy for you. It's filled with fiber. And I'm like, let me try it out. Y'all, I tried it out and I instantly had to poo. And I guess it makes sense because it is filled with fiber, but it wasn't pleasurable. I didn't feel like it tasted good. Like, it wasn't fucking Coke. It wasn't Coke, dog. Give me the Coke. If I could sniff Coke, I'll sniff Coke. I guess, Coca-Cola. If I could sniff Coca-Cola. And that's why I feel like if I ever tried cocaine, I would be an addict. Because considering how much I love Coca-Cola and knowing the history that cocaine was put in Coca-Cola, I don't know at what point was it ever finally removed from the ingredients. But if I love Coca-Cola as much as I do, Well, since I love Coca-Cola as much as I do, not if, since I do love Coca-Cola as much as I do, I already know if a little bit of cocaine was in that, I probably would have been like, yeah, let me sit under this bridge. This is my new home. If that's like God forbid. But seriously, I think there's something to that. And I think there's like when I drink Coca-Cola in Colombia and Mexico, I feel like it's even of a richer taste. You know, and there's a different taste in Coca-Cola when you drink it from a glass bottle compared to the can. Bitch. Nah, I know I sound like an addict. I am. That's it. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. And I will check in with you guys next time. Goodbye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. If you liked it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. God bless.